This fight, to me, the odds are super close. With Izzy and Dricus du Plessis, there's an argument between who's the best middleweight ever. There's only two sides of that argument. It's either you have Izzy or you have Anderson Silva. One of them tested hot, so there's argument there, right? But you got to remember, Izzy was so good and so consistent and was so active. He lapped the entire division. They had to come up with a guy that wasn't even in the UFC at the time, a Glory kickboxing champion, world champion. They had to catapult him to the front of the line in order to create some sort of narrative that this guy might beat Izzy in MMA because he beat him in kickboxing. And Izzy lost to him, and then Izzy beat him, knocked him out. How good does that knockout look now? How fucking good is Alex? Yeah. Izzy beat him. The old rope-a-dope. Probably my favorite fight of all time. Insane, dude. That shit was wild. So I must have forgot, because remember, Izzy was coming off a loss and then did that. And then he's so active, and heavy lies the crown. There's a reason why champions aren't that active. It's a lot of work. Their priorities as far as their commitment to marketing, they get a share of the pay-per-view. So the UFC's going, okay, if you get a share of the pay-per-views, you're going to sell this freaking thing. And you're going to do a lot more interviews, way more time commitment, way more interviews as far as being in front of the camera than anybody else on the card, because your face is on the poster and we're banking on you selling this thing. So as he did it to the highest level. His social media's popping, his interviews, he never turned down any interview, right? And there's a reason why usually the champs aren't as active as he was. It's a lot, man. He was so active, and finally it caught up to him. We saw it in the Sean Strickland fight. And if you watch that Sean Strickland fight, I didn't give Sean a freaking chance. But I didn't know Izzy reached his kind of boiling point and was not into the fight in any facet. And Sean whooped his ass. So I think there's a lot of people carrying that into this fight going, look what Sean Strickland did. Yep, that was September of 2023. Quite some time ago. But again, the body of work that we have from Izzy and the evidence that we have when he has a loss, the way he bounces back is pretty damn good. I would assume we get a motivated Izzy. If you've seen his pictures on his gram of the shape he's in, I think Izzy beats the shit out of DDP. I think he beats the brakes off of him. I know. And it's not that, I'm sure I'll take heat for it, whatever. It's not that DDP is not world-class. Clearly, the guy is a monster. What are his biggest attributes? Big, heavy puncher, awkward, explosive, right? Can knock your lights out. God, look at that. I thought Sean Strickland beat him. So my question for you guys is, do you think if Izzy was focused and at 100%, does Sean Strickland beat him? Probably not.
No, and plus he was planning for Dricus, and it was just Dricus got injured,
and thank God he didn't fight Dricus. Mm-hmm. That could have been way worse, because an off night with Dricus, you're getting knocked out cold.
But I'm saying, I think he was more motivated to fight Dricus, and then when he had Sean Strickland replace him, I honestly believe he.
I think he took it. Thought it was gonna be easy.
Yeah.
Remember, the UFC didn't even want to do it, and he called Dana. Was like, I'm gonna starch this fucking dude. And then you learned out the hard way that Sean's defense is really good.
He's really good, yeah.
Matter of fact, it's the best we've ever seen. And he put it on him. And they put the pace on him. So he's fighting a guy, Jesus, undefeated in the UFC, 21-2, just a straight savage. I just always fall back to, you look at the body of work by Izzy. We look at the evidence we have when he does have a loss, the way he bounces back. Remember when he shot for the moon, landed on the stars? Remember when he went to 205, fought Jan, this powerhouse, and Jan kind of took him down. He lost in decision. And he had to do that because he cleaned out the division. There's nothing for him. Cleaned out the entire division. Everybody. Multiple times. Fought guys multiple times. There's nothing for him. So he goes to 205. At that same time, the UFC goes, let's sign Alex and catapult him to the front, which was smart. He's the biggest star that they have. Not named Izzy or Conor, right? He's right up there. So he usually loses to Jan at 205. Everyone's like, oh, look at this guy, blah, blah, blah. And then he beats Marvin Vettori, Robert Whittaker, and Jared Cannonier. And then he gets to Alex. I should say Alex finally gets to him. Alex beats him in New York in 2022. You're like, oh my God, this is wild. Yep. And then they do a rematch. And he knocks out Alex Pereira.
Mm-hmm. Clean knockout. Whereas Izzy was still standing when Alex beat him. Yeah.
Some people were upset at the stoppage. It is what it is. Live to fight another day. One of the best performances I've ever seen.
One of the most inspirational comebacks too.
Ever. The rope-a-dope. 2 world-class strikers. Now, he's a world champion. So this is no shade on Dricus. He's so good. But would you consider Dricus a world-class striker compared to Alex and Izzy? No.
He's more wild, I'd say.
Wild. Unorthodox. Tough to duplicate, but has power for days. Yep. Big boy. Big 85er. Alex is a big 85er with world-class striking. I just feel like, again, Izzy's had losses. He always comes back so damn strong. And Izzy knows he loses this one. It's tough, dude. You lose this one as far as the big boy paydays, the big kind of greatest of all time talk, that it's going to be tough. He knows what's on the line. I think Izzy starches him. Everyone's back on the Izzy train. Then he fights Strickland at 85. Strickland gets his rematch. That's why Strickland's sitting out right now. Strickland gets his rematch. The Hamzat and Robert Whittaker stuff, the winner of that, I know they promised the Hamzat. I think that's out the window after he keeps falling out. Even if Hamzat wins, the UFC like, we just can't, dude. You're too unreliable. We can't. So that's on the back burner. No matter what Dana says, that's on the back burner. This is how Izzy's career is going to go. Timestamp this, Jen, because we're going to post this in 2 years. This is how it's going to go. Mark my words. He's going to beat Dricus. He's going to outclass him on Saturday. He's going to beat the shit out of him. He's going to outclass this dude. It's going to be the old vintage Izzy. By old, I mean a year ago. He's going to beat the shit out of him because he's had rest. He's no longer the hunted. He's the hunter. He's going to beat Dricus. Then he's going to fight Sean Strickland, and he's going to be 100% focused. He's going to beat Sean Strickland. Then he's going to take a break. And then you're going to get Alex versus Izzy at 205. It's his last fight ever. And his wins over Dricus and Sean Strickland, and I think there's an argument now, makes him the greatest middleweight of all time. That's how his story ends. And then he goes over to Hollywood or does whatever the hell he wants to do, still does YouTube, drives the McLaren, does his crazy shit, does what Izzy does. And he's the greatest middleweight of all time and considered one of the pound for pound greatest of all time. That's how this story ends. And then the division keeps moving. Dricus becomes champ again down the road, or Sean Strickland does, Robert Whittaker, Hamzat, I don't know. There's too many variables going on there. I love watching when he does fight, but there's too many variables. I don't know what to do with him yet. But Izzy, that's how it goes. Dricus, Strickland, Alex at 205. I don't know what happens there. We'll talk about it when we get there. And that you get 3 more performances from Izzy. Big boy fights. Name one of those fights I mentioned that's not must-see TV. Izzy DDP, take my money. They hate each other. He called him the N-word. Take my money. Izzy Strickland rematch? What? The build up to that? And they do it in America? Come on. It's a great fight. He wins that one? Oh my Lord. And then Alex still doing his thing at 205. Maybe Alex goes up to heavyweight, loses, comes back down. It doesn't matter. That fight's always there. That's how Izzy's story ends. And that's a great ending. That's a great ending. It's no shade on Dricus. It's no shade on anybody else in the division. But y'all must have forgot how fucking good he is. We all do this. Everybody does this. And then when they retire, then you hear, oh, Anderson was the best. Oh, my God. He was the best. This and this. Oh, my God. I'm with you. Trained with a guy. Was at his fight where he fucking put his feet in Vitor Belfort's mouth. One of the best to ever do it. Definitely, there's argument he might be the best. But if Izzy can pull this off and be the only guy to lose the belt and then come back and win the belt again for the 3rd time, come on. And who did Anderson fight that had world-class striking similar to Alex and knock him out? Oh, wait. Who did he knock out? The answer's nobody. You can tell me Vitor Belfort, amazing striker. Better striker than Alex on paper? Credentials? World champion glory kickboxer? Probably the biggest credential you can get. Who else you got?
I can't remember any world-class striker.
Machida?
Awkward striker, karate style.
I'm just saying world class. Mm-hmm. Has the background as world class.
No, I don't see anyone.
Go through it. Go ahead. Do it. If you're listening right now and you're pulling your hair out, go through it. I'll wait. Go ahead. I'll do it for you right now. Stop right there, Chin. Jorge Rivera, not world class striking. Stout, nope. Okami, great fighter. World class striking, nah, not Glory. Not Glory world champion. Chris Liebit, great chin, right? Yeah, he lit him up. That's when the casuals got familiar with him. Rich Franklin, dude, math teacher. Come on. The American Fighter shirts, I loved them. Travis Luter,
Submission guy.
Nate Marquardt, one of my boys.
Pretty well-rounded, right?
Well-rounded, Pancreas world champion. World-class striking? Nope. They beat Rich Franklin again. Dan Hendo, oh my God, amazing, right?
Strong puncher.
Wrestler. James Irvin, okay. Patrick O'Tay, Tally's Ladies. Forrest Griffin. And when I get to world-class, let me know. Damian Maia, how good was his striking? Chael Sonnen, did you see him fight Anderson Silva over in Brazil? Vitor Belfort is your best argument. That it's Okami again, Chael Sonnen again, Bonner, rest in peace. They lost to Chris Weidman, his leg fell off. Nick Diaz, it is what it is.
Yeah, I forgot he fought Daniel Cormier.
Yeah, that was the fill-in for UFC 200.
Yeah, no actual world-class strikers. Yeah.
Zero. But again, we have this idea in our head how good these guys were when they were doing it. And for MMA, yeah, he fought some elite strikers. I'm talking about bona fide world class. Only one of the two has a win over, and not only a win, but a knockout with striking. Not submission, not wrestling, a straight up knockout. His name's Izzy. Now I won't even play the game that Izzy beat Anderson. That's not fun. Anderson's a shell of himself at that point. I do think Dricus will use some wrestling, but again, is it world-class wrestling? He does everything pretty fucking well. That's why he became world champion. He beat Robert Whittaker. Pretty wild. You look at strength of schedule. Look at the resumes. Let's go over Dricus's strength of schedule. Brad Tavares, always tough. He beat him in decision. Darren Till, right? He submitted him with a face crank. Derek Brunson, always a tough customer. Then Robert Whittaker, world class. Sean Strickland, world class. I thought he lost. You go to Izzy's resume? Oof. You don't want to compare. You do not want to compare. He beat Vittori in a decision. So he's beat one. Oh, no. Izzy beat Vittori in a decision. Go back to Dricus. He's beat 1, 2. Where they got Derek Brunson was ranked what at the time?
I don't know.
So he has 2 wins over top 5 guys. One of those is argument that he lost against Sean Strickland. I thought Sean Strickland won. Okay. I think we get vintage Izzy. I think he lights him up like a fucking South African Christmas tree. Could be wrong. It's tough. It's tough to know where he's at mentally. But the record would show Izzy coming off a loss is fucking a nightmare.
Mm-hmm. And he had
looks like he's put in the work.
Decent break, which also helps, I'm sure.
Break's massive.
Yeah.
I would even like a longer break for him. You don't need to do the Jangalang break where it's 3 years, 2 years. That's not good. You got to be somewhat active. But 8 to 12 months, not bad. Looks like he's ready to go, dialed in. Good luck to any middleweight out there. Good fucking luck, man. The guy lapped the division. They signed a guy who didn't even have MMA. They were like, hey, man, you want to fight in MMA? Alex like, I guess. And they catapulted him to the front because there was no contenders. Zero. Because not only did he beat him twice. The division was boring. I don't want to see him fight Marvin Vettori or Cannonier again or Robert Whittaker. We've seen it multiple times. He beats him. Nobody's beaten him. That's how good he is. Paul Costa's pretty good, right? Knocked him out and then humped him. He's never been the same. Mark my words. You're getting Izzy beats Dricus. Izzy beats Strickland. Takes a break. And then his last fight ever is 205 against Alex. Caveat there is, where is Alex at that time? Because if he's not champ, it's tough. He's not champ at 205. Anything can happen there. He goes up to heavyweight. And it also depends how active Izzy wants to be. Take your time, dog. Don't rush into the Strickland fight. even though Strickland's on the shelf right now on the bench chilling.